super easy to start a company now. Not to make it successful, super easy to start it.
Right.
So you don't need a lot of money. You can be anywhere in the world. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be in Silicon Valley. You don't have to be in any of these places. Like,
you don't need a ton of developers or engineers.
You don't need a ton of developers. You can get started very easily.
So let me ask you now, as a CEO, you know, since you started Ad Reform in the last year or so, like, what's been the difference, biggest, most difficult transition from being, you know, you were a key employee, you were head of sales at Rigger, but now you're the CEO. Now, how's that been?
I think the most challenge, like, you already know that I knew it would be hard because I had gone through a startup before, right? And it was really hard at the beginning. It was always hard, but it was hard in its own way in the beginning, right? Like, you're nothing yet. You don't even know what you're doing yet. You don't even know who your audience is. Like, you're just trying to figure it out from day one. And so I knew it was hard, but I think the magnitude of really, like, I don't think I ever really understood what it was like to, like, it all falls on me. Like, before it was, you know, it fell on somebody else, and obviously it falls on everybody to some extent, but, like, when you're the CEO and, you know, you're the founder and you're funding the company and all of these different things, like, it really, everything, the weight of that falls on you. And, you know, you really have to be able to, you know, I think the emotional side of it is the hardest part. The emotional ups and downs are really difficult because you have so much rejection and like all of this kind of stuff early on. It's just really, like, you gotta figure out a way to, like, stay level-headed and stay composed, because everybody else is, like, you know, even though we're small now, there's not a lot of people, like, everybody is looking to you and they're gonna feed off of your emotion and your personality and your, you know, whatever you're saying, however you're feeling, like, that's what the company is gonna look at.
I think one of the things that gets tough too is as you grow and add employees, then you have that weight and responsibility of making, you know, of having those employees and making sure that they're getting a paycheck, and there's, you know, companies keeps going. I mean, for me, I remember one time that one of the hardest things I had to do, in early days of ICE, when I was going to recruit some friends to come and work, people that I had worked with in the past, and you know, ICE, we were a startup like any other startup, and so we didn't know how long we'd be around either. And so I remember telling a good friend of mine, I was like, hey, I want you to come work here, but I gave her all these caveats. I almost sold her on not coming. I said I wanted her to fully understand all the risks, because she was coming from a pretty well-established company,
right?
At the time, and I wanted her to understand that, hey, you know, this is something that may go well. I mean, we have all this potential, but it could be, you know, you never know with a startup. It could be out of business in 6 months, and then you're back out on the street. And I remember it was amazing though that when like I said, I pretty much sold her negatively to make sure she understood all the risks, but she without hesitation, she came to work there, and, you know, she's been there now probably, like, I think 15 years. She's still there, and she's obviously had a great career, and it's been a tremendous experience. So, yeah, you know, it's those kind of decisions though, you never know how they'll turn out.
Building a company really is, like, as you experience, it's a lot like years of hard work. It's not, it doesn't just come like, you know, in a year. The Facebook stories of the work, you know, that kind of stuff is incredibly rare. I mean, even you guys were incredibly rare, but it's still, there was a lot of hard work done in the beginning.
Yeah.
You guys obviously blew up, but.
Yeah, I mean, for us, the biggest thing was it was just every day, just going to work and chopping wood. And, you know, as a startup, you might think about when you first get your $1 million in annual revenue. I remember one day, the first time I realized that we were doing $1 million a day in revenue in one market, natural gas, in a single day. That was pretty amazing. We went public on the New York Stock Exchange in 2005, having the biggest.
That's awesome.
We had the biggest IPO in the history of the state of Georgia at the time.
Wow.
We IPO'd at $26 that day. First day we closed at 44, and then it set. You know, I think we were the next following year we were the most profitable stock or successful stock on the NYSE. And then
see, that's one of the things that's annoying. Like, that's kind of annoying about Georgia or Atlanta. It's like you guys, probably one of the most successful startup stories probably in the history of America. And no, I could name ICE to tons of people in Atlanta and they would not know who the heck that is.
Right.
Like, which is so weird to me.
We were better known in Chicago or New York or London than we were in Atlanta. It wasn't even until we bought the New York Stock Exchange where people were like, wait, what happened? Who did that? An Atlanta-based company bought the NYSE. And then we started to become better known in Atlanta. But still, a lot of people don't know who we are. But part of that too is when we were a startup, we came out of like the ashes of the .com crash. So it wasn't really cool to be a startup when we were a startup. There wasn't like TV shows about it.
But that's like the perfect time to do it.
Yeah, everybody didn't, you know. I mean, it really was kind of not cool. Well, Landon, it's been really a fun day driving around with you and talking back at the Tech Village, and I'm really glad you got to come and spend this time together.
This was a ton of fun. This car is unbelievable, and this was an awesome experience, and it's cool to see Serenbe and all this kind of crazy stuff out here.
I wish you all the success in the world.
Thank you for all the help so far, and looking forward to continuing and growing and learning more from you. So I definitely appreciate everything you've done.
Yeah, what do you say we go get a beer?
Let's do it.
All right.
2.
I'm in. 2, at least 2.